Welcome back to the broadcast. There he is. The king. Elvis Presley. He had a birthday about 2 weeks ago. So when we first started this show about, 9 or so months ago, and we got a load of Don Wakamatsu doing interviews, I immediately said, I've heard that voice somewhere before. Where have I heard that voice? And it was Elvis. It was the voice of Elvis. In fact, we did do we have that? Let's see if we can fish that out of our archives.
Here we go.
We actually did a piece where we inserted some of the questions that you had to answers, and we set it to music, Hound Dog. And it was unbelievable. So, if this gig doesn't work out.
There we go. The problem is I can't sing.
you can always do Elvis covers at the Ramada on the weekends or something down there in Renton. Don Wakamatsu with us here at 710 ESPN Seattle, the home of the Mariners. He's been good enough to share some time with us here this afternoon. We ended the conversation before the break talking about Milton Bradley and designated hitter. The fact that he's a switch hitter gives you even more versatility in that ballpark, and presumably, if health allows, he'll be out there in left field every day, so or thereabouts. Where does that put you in terms of a designated hitter right now?
I think going into spring training, there's a lot we still have to find out, and one of them's getting, as we mentioned before, getting to know Milton, letting Milton know his teammates, but also he's had some injuries in the past. You have to weigh what kind of schedule we're going to put him on in spring training, but also are there days that he would benefit from DHing to keep him fresh all year. Those are things, again, dialoguing with him. They say he's in great shape, so it might not even be an issue. So he could be all the above. Could be an everyday left fielder. He could be our ability to, or we might have the flexibility to DH him against left-handers.
There's a feeling that the Mariners are going to make one more move, look for a little more pop in the lineup.
Well, I told Jack I want several. every manager wants that, but he's done such a phenomenal job, and I think obviously everybody knows there's 90 plus free agents out there, and you just don't know what the market's going to reveal or what players are willing to do at this point. Are they panicking? Are they do they want to play? That's the bottom line. So you just don't know what's out there or what direction we're going, and that's really Jack's job and the front office's job.
That goes along with some of the questions that we're getting on our text this afternoon. What type of players would Wak like to see in the final addition to the roster? Home run pop, OBP, versatility off the bench, more speed, clubhouse leader.
All the above.
All of that stuff. Always looking. And just because you don't get it now doesn't mean you won't get it later, a month or two into the season.
Without a doubt. You look at some of the trades that Jack did during the season last year. His goal and our goal is to constantly improve this club, no matter at the start of the year or at any point. We want to just keep building this organization to where we're in the playoffs and the World Series every year. So I don't think you close the door on that. And with acquiring talent, the market dictates a lot. Our payroll at certain points dictates that. So I leave that up to Jack, and I know he's working 24/7 to continue to do that.
One of the other additions in the offseason, Brandon Lee, who's been with Toronto, I think, 3 or 4 years. I was looking at some of his numbers, 67 appearances last year, 74 innings pitched, 76 strikeouts. What does this young fellow do for you?
He gives us, again, depth. I think that's a magical word, even going back to the previous question. I think you have to have depth because you're going to sustain injuries during the year. It's how you can overcome that. I thought our front office did a phenomenal job of getting character guys and guys that could fill in last year. Brandon Lee brings an arm that has the potential to close. Now you have Ardzuma and Lowe and him down in the back end of that bullpen, and it's very difficult. Obviously, starting pitching has a lot to do with it. We led the league in pitching because, go back to it, whether it was the amount of innings that our starters threw, which gave our bullpen, even though we did have some use in there, we didn't have a lot of bullpen innings compared to other teams. So we're hoping with the addition of Cliff Lee that allows us to have fresh arms down there, but it's never easy to go in and say, okay, I'm going to close with David Ardzuma every single night. That's not reality. Okay, who's going to close in the secondary situation? And that would be Mark Lowe probably. But now you bring in Brandon Lee, who's coming into his own, who's continually improving. He gives you that option too. So you have some flexibility down there, depending on the situation of the night before or the series before.
And a whole lot of arms for the 3, 4, and the 5 spots. Ryan Rowland-Smith, I thought, really came on late in the season. I like the way he conducted himself last year.
Without a doubt. he had aspirations right out of spring training to be an everyday guy for us, and it didn't work out. He had the injury early. He went down, and he wanted to come up a little bit earlier than we felt that was necessary. And you know what? He stayed down there, and we thought it was in his best interest, and it was. He came back up, and he admitted it. He said, there's a lot I didn't really know about myself. He had to be a little bit more creative, had to develop a little bit more of his off-speed pitches, and pitched outstanding his last starts of the year. He's a big, strong kid that I have a lot of belief in. I think this guy's got a chance to be a 200-inning pitcher for us, and that's kind of the magic key. Again, going back, if you have three guys in your rotation, you're taking some pressure off that bullpen. These guys are getting deep in ball games, and that's probably the most impressive thing. Is that's what he did late in the season. He went deep in ball games.
And then all those young guys, Pfister, French, Snell, Ian Snell seems to be an intriguing name as well. Olson, Vargas. I mean, this is really going to be a great competition in spring training.
Well, you look at last year, and you're always trying to pick out the positives. And obviously, our ability to be able to put those guys in some key situations. Pfister, debuting against the Yankees and beating them. That builds confidence, and not only that, the opportunity for so many different guys. Now you look at it, and whether they make the team out of spring training or they're sitting in AAA, these guys have been in the heat. And so you feel, and you have a comfort level relational-wise, but also experience-wise, that now we have a little bit more depth. So we accomplished a lot last year.